Woof.
Okay. So, here we go. This is the new DevBlog that was released. Was released today, 10 a.m. this morning. And it's talking about changes to test ships and also the reveal of the Tashkent 41 stats. So let's talk about that and see what all they have to say. So let's start out. So the overview here says, we are adjusting the parameters of some ships before they begin testing. The changes will be applied to Tashkent 41 and to Almirante Grau. We are also ready to share the initial characteristics of Tashkent 41. So let's start off. So the Almirante Grau is the Tier 8 Pan-American cruiser. So it's the one where they started out, I think, with the Worcester variants. We'll call it the Worcester variants. So here we go. Main battery reload time increased from 4.5 to 7. Well, of course it would be nerfed. There's no planes and there's no subs, so that's not a surprise. So big nerf there. I mean, that's like a 60% nerf to the main battery reload. Did they think it was going to be that good, that it needed that big of a change? I don't know. Maybe the spreadsheet said it performed too well. Changes to combat instructions. Okay. Bonus to reload time increased. So I see what they're doing now. The reload time bonus goes from a 20% to a 66%. Okay. So the way I'm understanding this is, before we were at 4.5 and we're saying basically we're going to give you 0.9 off of that. So when you activate the combat instructions, your reload would go from 4.5 to 3.6. Now what they're saying is, we're going to make it 7 seconds, but we're going to give you, 2/3 of that off. So let's see here. So you're at 7 seconds. And so what they're saying now is, we're going to give you a worse reload, but if you activate combat instructions, now your reload's going to be 2.3 roughly, 2.3 to 2.4 instead of 3.6. So what it says is that we're going to make the ship much more reliant on activating the combat instructions. That's what that says to me. If anybody else has a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. Removed bonuses to ship speed and acceleration rate. So they're saying, we're only giving you the faster reload. We're not going to give you the speed and acceleration boost. Then the duration period is reduced from 60 to 30 seconds. So I'm kind of looking at this. So this is a nerf to the normal reload, but if you activate combat instructions, it's actually a buff, because they've changed that to be a bigger change. Now this is a nerf because they're not giving you additional speed and acceleration. The duration was reduced from 60 to 30 seconds, so that's a bit of a nerf. The combat instructions meter now fills by 10%. Every 5 seconds, the ship remains undetected. Wait. So they're going to reward you for staying undetected. So they're going to reward you for not participating in the battle, more or less. And then I guess what they're trying to get you to do is pop out when you activate this thing, spew out a bunch of shells for 30 seconds, and then it starts to deteriorate, and then you go dark again, and Build your combat instructions back up. Okay, I don't know about that. The progress bar starts to decay 30 seconds after being detected by the enemy. Okay, interesting. Decay rate's 10% for every 5 seconds you're detected. Now, theoretically, if I understand this, so if you're able to sit behind an island undetected, does that not mean that you can activate the combat instructions and then just friggin' sit there and just absolutely rain shells? I mean, geez. This thing's like, that's going to be a lot of shells with a 2 point, what did I say it would get down to? Like a 2.3-ish, 2.3, 2.4 second reload? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So basically, if you hide behind an island undetected, you can just vomit shells like, oh geez, it's just going to be unprecedented. So it's going to be ridiculous. The gameplay concept rests on her guns and good concealment values. Updated instructions will better suit this concept, but to balance them out, the standard main battery reload time was increased. Well, like I say, if you're good at getting behind an island or somewhere where you can stay undetected, well, good luck to whatever's being shot at, is all I can say. Okay, I'm probably going to say a lot of negative stuff if I talk about that too long, and I don't want it to be negative, so we're just going to let that be as it may, and we're going to go on to the new Soviet destroyer, the Tashkent 41, at Tier 7. Now, my understanding when they released this is they said that this thing was going to be more of a torp boat than, it was going to be a gunboat. In other words, it may still have the guns, but it was going to be more focused on torps. So the first thing they're saying they are doing is they added a smoke generator consumable with similar characteristics to what we already have on Tier 7 DDs, or Soviet DDs. And to be quite honest, there are a couple of really good DDs at Tier 7 in the Soviet line. And they both do have smoke, although neither has heal. Now they're ready to share a stat breakdown of the ship. So let's see what this thing's going to really be all about. Let me do something here because I'm going to bring up on my other screen the ship tool, because I want to see at Tier 7 where this thing falls. Oh, great. We got to reload our ship tool. Okay. Did they put it in here yet? Oh, good grief. Not select all. There we go. No, it is not in here. So, okay. Let's see what we've got, though. So, the health is 21,200. That's going to be the best at Tier 7. That's 1,600 more, right? That's 1,600 more than Z39. So that's a lot of health, folks. So your main battery, you got 3 130s with a 10.5 kilometer range. Now, if we're comparing that to, let's look at Minsk and Leningrad, and I like both of those ships a lot. I want to see, those both have 5 guns, if I recall correctly. Minsk and Leningrad, 5 130s with a 12 to a 11.6 to a 12.2 range. The Minsk has a little more range because it has suicide range torps. So, okay, what about your, so you got 1900 HE shell damage, 22 in 8% fire chance. Let's look at these shells and see how they compare to the Minsk and Leningrad. Yeah, 8% fire chance, 1900. That's the same HE shells basically with an 870 velocity. So that's the same thing. Reload time 4 seconds. Now, that is better than, from a reload time standpoint, that is going to be better than the Leningrad and the Minsk, who both sit at 5 seconds. So essentially, you're going to have, what, 40% less guns, but you're going to have 20% more DPM out of those guns. So you're still going to have less DPM, but your DPM's still not going to be horrible. I could figure it out, but we're not going to go that deep into it right now. So yeah, these are the same guns. And then you've got, now this, maximum AP shells, 2,500. So is the AP going to be the same? Yeah, so same AP shell. So this is the same guns. You just have 3 instead of 5, but with a 4-second rate instead of a 5. So the guns aren't going to be horrible, but they're not going to be as good as Minsk and Leningrad. Now, Minsk, has like, 4-kilometer torps, so it's pretty much suicide torps. They're useless for anything other than ambush. Leningrad has usable torps and a little better concealment than Minsk has. So Leningrad, has those 8-kilometer torps, which are very usable. So that's what we want to see, is what kind of torps do we have on this Tashkent 41. So you got 3x3 torps. So let's go over to the torpedoes and see what kind of torps Leningrad and Minsk have comparatively. So, yeah, see, the Minsk has higher damage torps. Basically, these are Leningrad torps. What about the 1.2 detectability? Yeah, these are Leningrad torps with the 15,100 damage. However, they have a 10-kilometer range instead of 8, which is very respectable. 60 knot speed. Is that the same speed? Yes, that's the same speed. The reload time is 70 seconds. That is way better than Leningrad and Minsk. Leningrad's on 92. This thing is on 70. That reload is going to be insane. And you get 9 of these torps. Woo! Okay. You know what? Let's compare this to the Japanese line. I want to look at the Japanese versus the Russian. So if we look at, all right, so you got Akatsuki. So let's look at the Akatsuki. You got 10-kilometer torps on the Akatsuki and 3x3 rack. Now the Akatsuki's torps hit a little harder. They're at 17,233. But the reload is 76 seconds on the Akatsuki. So these are better torps reload-wise than Akatsuki. And they have a 1.2 detectability instead of a 1.6. Although they are 2 knots slower. So you could make the argument that this is almost a better torp boat. Now, what I want to see is, what did we miss here? What is the concealment of this thing? Do we see where our concealment is? That's okay. That's going to be down here. So you got your AA. AA is a myth. We all know that, so I'm not going to go over that a whole lot. You do have short and mid-range. Doesn't look like you get any long range or any flak puffs. So that's not good, but it is what it is. All right, maximum speed, 44.8. Really? 44.8. Wow. Is that better than anything at the tier? That is way better than anything at the tier. Leningrad and Minsk are both 43. This thing can do 44.8. Are you shitting me? Okay. Turning circle radius. Now, here's where we get to some other things. 730. So that's a worse turning circle than Leningrad and Minsk, and it also has a worse rudder shift. So, yeah, that's an issue with maneuverability. Now, surface detectability, 8.4. Okay, Leningrad and Minsk are 7.3 and 7.5. So, whoa. And at tier 7, you don't get the you don't get the slot to choose better concealment. You only get the captain skill. So that means you can only get this down to what? Like 7.6, something like that. So, whoa, okay. So not so much a torque boat. That's a real problem if you want this thing to be a focused torque boat. If you want to be a focused torque boat, why doesn't it have at least similar conceal to the Leningrad, you would think? Okay. All right, and what kind of consumables do we have? Damage control, smoke, engine boost. I'm assuming that's your standard 8%. And it has a torp reload booster. Oh, dear Lord. So that means you can put 18 torps in the water. You can dump 9 torps and then dump 9 more torps. Okay. If this thing had concealment, I would tell you right now it would be straight up OP from a torp standpoint. That's interesting. So we'll have to see how that. So basically, 8.4 is that going to be the worst detection at the tier? Yeah, Minsk and Bliska and the Moss and the Z39 all have a 7.5 concealment, and this thing is 8.4. Whoa. So, like I said, only your captain skill is going to improve that, basically. So, wow. So about 7.6 is your bottom concealment. Holy crap. Okay. Ooh, that renders the 10-kilometer torps a little bit more difficult to use. But, okay. That's kind of it. So, to recap this, the Tashkent 41. So, it may be worth building that thing into guns and playing it like a Leningrad. Building it into guns, but screw the reload time. It reloads so fast. Don't put anything into the torps. Just put everything into the guns that you can. And have at it. And if anything gets near you, give it a face full of torps and then hit the reload booster and give it another face full of torps. I mean, geez. That's kind of what that seems to be. 44.8 knots. That's ridiculous. 70-second reload is crazy. I mean, is that the best torp reload at the tier? No, the Skane is the only thing that's faster. The Bliskovica and the Italian DD both have a 70-second reload on 2x3 torps. This is 3x3. So, yeah. Okay. That's going to be interesting. So there's that. And then, like I said, the changes to the Tier 8 Pan American cruiser that they've basically turned this thing into a God tier HE vomiter if it stays undetected. That's what that amounts to. You can literally, if you stay detected, as I read this, you can sit there with a 2.3 3 to 2.4 second reload indefinitely. Goodness gracious. Okay. That's the DevBlog from January 25th that came out today. Interesting stuff. Power creep is real, folks. Power creep is real. All right, so there's one other DevBlog that came out today, so let's check that out. It's this one. All right, the second DevBlog that came out today on January 25th, just a little while ago, as a matter of fact, is talking about the new clan battle season coming up. Season 20, update 12.1. So Wargaming would like to share details about the 20th season of clan battles. February 20th till April 10th. Clan battle season Salamander will be held 7 versus 7 format tier 10 ships. The following restrictions will apply from the start of the season. No carriers or subs. Yay. After 3 weeks of the season, or no more than 2 battleships per team, okay, after 3 weeks of the season, the limit will change to no more than 1 battleship per team. So that's interesting. So you can have 2 battleships to start, but then they'll change it to 1 battleship after 3 weeks of the season. So would you want to take that into account maybe on the comp that you're playing early in the season, or do you just play 2 battleships till you can't anymore? Be interesting to see. And no more than 3 mercenaries per division. Now, there are restrictions on particular ships. So, limited the number of Petro and Napoli. One team may not have more than 1 of these ships in total. So you can have a Petro or a Napoli. Pick one. No more than 1 Marseille per team. Okay. Yeah, Petro and Marseille together would be scary. Limited the number of Marceau and Kleber. One team may not have more than 3 of these ships in total. So they're saying that you can run whatever combination of these. You can run 3 Marceaus, 3 Klebers, or 2 of one and 1 of the other. Really? That's kind of interesting. I'm shocked they don't say just limited to 2. And then restricted ships. Ohio, Vermont, Kremlin, Prussian, St. Vincent, Thunder, Repub, Louisiana, and Smaland. So I'm assuming by restricted ships, that means you can't have more than 1 per team. Okay. This season, you will be able to receive special rental tier 10 ships for clan battles, Conqueror, Hindi, and Gearing. Next, the battles will be held on the following maps in the domination mode: Atlantic, Islands of Ice, Sleeping Giant, Tears of the Desert, Shatter, Estuary, Crash Zone Alpha, and Faroe Islands. Domination mode. Isn't that the single cap mode? I can never keep the modes straight. I'm thinking standard mode is where you have 3 or 4 caps you fight over. I was thinking domination mode is just one, each team has a spawn cap. And that's it. That's different. That's very different. That makes strategy very different if I'm reading that right. Wow. Okay. That definitely makes things different. And that's a good point that Lone Wolf just made. The restricted ships may mean that you just can't play them at all. That's a lot of restricted battleships right there. It's almost all battleships. You got the Smaland. So if you can't play those, wow, that kind of limits your battleship choices, doesn't it? Okay. We're going to be seeing a lot of Yamatos. I can tell you that's probably going to be a thing with a lot of these being nixed. So, okay. Okay. Well, now this calls it domination mode, but they are showing 3 caps, so maybe I got it wrong. Maybe domination mode does have the multiple caps. I usually get that backwards. Okay, 1 cap per side is standard battle. See, I always get that backwards. So yeah, here's your maps, what these bad boys look like, various different things. Very nice. Crash zone, Faroe Islands. Okay. And of course, this is all preliminary. They may change their mind on some of this. So very nice. So I'm interested to take a look. So there are 8 battleships that are removed from choice here. 8 battleships. So if we go over to the World of Warship page and look at our here 10 battleships, well, I've got 15 here, but I don't have all of them. But so they're taking away about half of your battleships. Now, does that mean you can have a Slava? Did I see Slava on that list? So it means you can have Yami, Montana. You can have Slava and Kurfürst. You can have Schlieffen. Bourgogne. What else did they say? You can't have a repub. So you can have, but you can have a Bourgogne and a Colombo. And then I might be missing something out of the list here. So that's very interesting as to what you can and can't have there on battleships. So, okay. Looks like they're trying to eliminate the ones that are excessively tanky or that have some elite guns or something, you know, that would give it a potential advantage over some of the other ships. So very interesting. Well, after 3 weeks, it won't matter because you can't choose but one battleship anyway. So it'll definitely be interesting. I say we'll see a lot of Yamatos and Montanas most likely. But you never know. You might see Bourgognes and some other ones, and you might see Slavas. If you want something that's good for cross shots, well, that would be one. So no telling there. But anyway, that's your second DevBlog for today, January 25th, talking about Season 20 Clan Battle update. So still fairly vanilla compared to most years. It's just that, you know, what they're changing up on the battleships here after 3 weeks. That's the biggest takeaway that I got on that. And then your restricted ships. Pretty big list of restricted battleships. So that's it. That is all of the clan battle information from today's second DevBlog. So now it's time to actually go and try to play some World of Warships. So let's do that, shall we? Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.